Oh, episode 2. God, I remember this
Rick and
episode
Michonne are
as
finally
my
reunited after more
hatred
than
being
6
born for
years
this
of being
AMC.
separated after that tragic day at the bridge. This power couple is taking their first steps to bringing down the CRM and restoring society
What the
back
fuck is
to the
this
world that they
TMC?
once knew. And
What
we
am I
think that
thinking
classic
of?
Walking Dead characters like Morgan Jones, Daryl Dixon, and even Negan could be joining this Walking Dead sequel series. Welcome back to ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Airy, and these are all the Easter eggs, references, and little things you might have missed in The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live, Episode 2. So in this episode, we get to see what Michonne has been up to since leaving the series back in Season 10, Episode 13, In Search of Rick.
She's been
in that
busy.
episode, Michonne found Rick's boots and these old iPhones with pictures of herself and their daughter Judith carved into the glass. Later on in the episode, we learn
My
that the
guy,
Japanese text
oh, I
carved on
love
Michonne's
this
means,
new
"Hold on a little
character.
longer," echoing
Nuts.
this line from Rick back in Season 3 before he even met Michonne.
We gotta push just a little bit more.
So in the season finale of the original series, we saw Rick with that same boat Michonne would later find. And in the first episode of this series, we learned that that scene was Rick's third attempt to escape the CRM.
Back of the note, your message in a bottle from escape number.
God, I can't. Now, thinking back, I don't like this character. I think it was very manipulative in how he convinced Rick to stay there. I don't like him. And I think he knew everything. He drank the Kool-Aid. He knew all of them. No, I'm right. You knew everything. I don't like you. I liked you and I was sad that you were gone. But not anymore.
3.
It was also in the Walking Dead series finale that we saw this shot of Michonne in her new armor
That is
bellowing toward this
so
great herd of walkers on her
horrifying
quest to
scene.
find Rick. We see this same moment in its full glory later on this episode. And guys, you may have noticed that we are releasing these breakdowns hours before the episode airs on AMC, and that's because episodes of The Ones Who Live dropped 15 hours early on AMC Plus. They're the sponsor of this video. AMC Plus is home to the entire, not to mention a huge select free trial of AMC Plus. Okay, so the episode opens with this gas man walker with gas cans attached.
The point of
this
this
parallels the opening shot of the Walking Dead pilot episode where we see Rick Grimes carrying this red
don't
gas
see
can
the
just
point
days after waking up from his coma.
No,
and
I
I
don't
love
see
how
the
this
link
is a
between
reminder
that.
for us, the viewer, that Michonne really is embarking on a near impossible mission. As far
No,
as
it
she
was a
knows,
suicide
Rick could be
mission.
long dead. And while she's hopeful and has faith that he's still alive, the fact of the matter is that even if he did survive the explosion at the bridge, he could have died any time between then and now. And while seeing this walker carrying a gas can mirrors the first time we ever saw Rick Grimes, that same walker later catching fire symbolizes the last time Michonne saw Rick. When the intro credits roll, you'll notice that on the title card we have a silhouette of Michonne instead of Rick, since this episode is from her perspective.
I
suspect that in
didn't
future
notice
episodes
that.
we'll see
That was
both
so
of their
cool.
silhouettes together.
Yep.
Next, we get this 6 years after the bridge text. Remember, in the previous episode, we got a title screen that read 5 years after the bridge, which caught us up
many
with Rick.
years
But
lost?
we were careful to point out that after Rick left the show, we saw a 6-year time skip in the main series. So it makes sense that Michonne's title card would read 6 years, keeping in line with when she left the show to find Rick. In the series finale of The Walking Dead, we saw Michonne find these two survivors, Aiden and Bailey.
Can you help us?
King Batch, I'm still so
Bailey,
surprised.
by the way, is played by Andrew Batchelor, aka King Batch.
Hey dog, you get some ice cream? Only a
King
spoonful.
Batch.
Michonne returns these two survivors
So
to their group. And I
surprised.
want to take a minute to talk about this group's survival methods. They never stop moving.
Hey, you don't stop for anyone. Ever.
Even during this sit-down meetings, we
She
learned
was
that
so
the
proud of it. She was so proud of it. No, don't stop. For no one. Not even family. Psychopaths.
office itself was moving. And I love how this constant moving group of survivors mimics the large moving herds of walkers that we've become all too familiar with over the years.
Tell them the next time they cross into my land,
They are the living dead.
my horde will cross into theirs.
They are the
This
living
group
dead.
doesn't stop for anyone or
Doesn't
anything.
stop,
not
just keeps
even
walking.
If your own sister gets left behind.
Trying to save 2, we could lose 200.
To me, this group is meant to symbolize surviving versus living. We've heard Michonne
That's
make
such
this
a
distinction
freaking
before.
true.
In Season 5, Michonne was desperate to find a place for them to actually live and make a home instead of just getting by.
It's a chance. Instead of just being out here. Instead of just making it. Because right now, this is what making it looks like.
And, as we've discussed before, this notion was antithetical to Rick's idea of them being the Walking Dead.
We are the Walking Dead.
We've discussed in previous videos how the title, The Ones Who Live, is a rebuke of the phrase, The Walking Dead. Instead of just keeping their hearts beating, they're
So freaking true. That's such a good analogy. Because they are like that though. Keep
Now, I remind
moving,
you of
keep
all that
walking,
because this
keep
group
just
that Michonne has
just
encountered
survive.
is a
You're just
perfect
the Walking Dead. You're
representation
doing
of
nothing.
the
You're not
Walking
living
Dead.
that.
They're
You're
fighting
not
to stay
living.
alive for the sake
Stop
of
in one place and enjoy. Smell the roses. Live. What's the point? Might as well grab a shotgun and just blast off. And make sure you move on to the next life.
Alive, but that's not living. Leaving behind your own sister to die is the path of someone seeking survival only, whereas someone who puts their life on the line to be with the ones they love is what it means.
There was
to
so
truly live,
so many
with
kissing
Michonne
scenes
and Rick.
in the show though. That's one thing I know. So many makeout scenes.
Next, we see them attempt to recruit
No.
Michonne into the group.
If you do find him, you could be part
She
of
is
the
such a
team.
politician.
wanting
She
to
reminds me
recruit-
of the governor. That's what she reminds me of, the governor. She is such a politician.
Shown for her strength mirrors how Okafor recruited Rick. But
Yeah,
it
him
also draws
exactly
a
the same.
contrast with the CRM's acceptance of Michonne. Michonne was wanted by this group for her strength, but to join the CRM, she had to hide her strength and portray herself as a follower and not a leader.
What's here? It's what I've been looking for.
We even see this opening scene of Michonne replicated later in the episode when she meets with the CRM. Michonne is wearing a hooded cape just like she wears in her first
So
appearance in
cool.
the Walking Dead Season 2 finale and just like in the comics. On her walkie-talkie, we hear Michonne say,
Choto.
Shoto is Michonne's nickname for Judith, and it means short sword in Japanese. Michonne is, of course, known for her samurai-like skills with her katana. Judith carries not only her father's gun and hat, but a short
A
katana
little
similar to
sword.
her mom's. Next, we get these purple explosions. Now, purple is a color that has been synonymous
does
with
wear
Michonne,
it
not
a
only in
lot.
the show, but in the comics as well. Purple has also been used in media such as the film The Color Purple, which showcased the strength and solidarity of black women. So when these explosions are set off, we see
Okay.
the Horde begin to
That's a
part
cool
and clear
connection.
paths for Michonne. This is symbolic of the parting of the Red Sea in the Book of Exodus.
That's
In fact,
true,
we
that
find a
shot
lot of
really
shared
does
themes
look like
between
that.
the Book of Exodus and the ones who live. First, let's talk about the imagery of the herd of walkers
Pretty sure I said the
separating
same
like the Red
comment
Sea.
when I saw
In
it.
Exodus, when Moses, through the power of God, parted the Red Sea, this was meant to convey themes of divine intervention and faith. Rick and Michonne have been separated for the better part of a decade in a world where
So many
society
years
couldn't be more
wasted.
disconnected. Yet, in this moment, despite the odds, Michonne has put her faith in her bond with Rick, and she has faith that the two of them will find one another, mirroring Moses' faith in God despite the impossible nature of his mission. We've discussed previously how Rick was never really a man of faith.
Last time I asked God for a favor and stopped to admire a view,
I
my
mean,
son
it's
got shot.
not impossible
Try
to
not
see
to
why
mix
you
it up
lose
with the
faith in a
Almighty.
world like this.
And that's echoed when Rick loses faith in being able to find Michonne in the
Oh, the
previous
scene
episode.
hurt
I
me.
tried.
The scene hurt me so much.
Please, just know I tried.
In Exodus, Moses was seeking to free his people from oppression, and while Michonne is searching for Rick, I think her mission will soon become the liberation of those trapped by the CRM. Now, Michonne and Rick found each other earlier on in the season than I expected, and I don't
like
think
that.
the rest of the season is just going to be about them trying to get back home. Michonne is going to
I wish
convince
it was
Rick
that.
that they have to liberate the people under the thumb of the CRM. Rick is only interested in getting back home, but I think Michonne
Oh,
is
you're
going
so
to take
wrong,
her
buddy.
finding Rick as a sign that she is meant to do something more.
It's a sign, bro.
She's thankful for her reunion with her long-lost husband and may view it as divine intervention and a debt that she needs to repay. There's also the fact that the CRM brutally murdered her friends, including Nat, who accompanied her on
I
her
wanted
journey.
him to be
And
the whole.
without Michonne,
I
they
wanted
never
him to
found
be your
Rick.
character
I
in
think
The
Michonne
Walking
is going
Dead.
to feel a
It
sense
was
of
so good.
responsibility to avenge her friends and follow the command she feels in her heart to bring down the CRM. And I mean, the name Nat is even a Hebrew name meaning gift of God.
Wow, okay.
Son of Nut.
And then we have this line from Michonne,
Still feel him.
suggesting that unlike Rick, she has a belief in something beyond their own existence. These themes of freedom have
Yeah, but there's a
already been
big
laid.
difference. Rick has spent the better part of a decade stuck with these people who kept him from returning to his family. Michonne was with her family for a lot of that time. Very easy to keep faith alive while Rick kind of lost it. Who blames him? That's why it's freaking the other episode 1 starts with Rick with a piece of glass to his throat. DRM broke him, I think, like no other antagonist did in The Walking Dead. Not even Negan got to him that much, in my opinion.
With lines like this from Rick.
People can't leave. They're not free.
When Michonne looks over this military base later in the episode, there's a look in her eye that we've seen her have before. She defied all odds in her quest to find Rick, and I think this look is meant to tell us that she will once again do the impossible and bring down the CRM.
Michonne
in fact,
has no
we're
quit
calling
in
it right
her.
now. Just like we saw a herd of walkers parted like the Red Sea, we will see a herd of walkers be closed like the Red Sea. They made a point to have Michonne ask how the purple flames were created.
Purple light What was that?
I had the chemicals in my red wagon. I got a lot of toys in there. And the fuel is out there.
I think that at some point this season, and potential spoiler alert in case we're right, I think we'll see a herd of walkers once again be parted with the use of purple flames to aid the escape of those fleeing the CRM.
My bitches!
And just like in Exodus, that sea of walkers will be closed and engulf the CRM soldiers and Major General Beale, the same way the Red Sea engulfed the Pharaoh and his troops as punishment for their oppression of Moses' people. Here, Nat says,
They've gone up a letter grade, that's for sure.
this is meant to symbolize how Nat went from being a follower to a leader. The CRM uses A's and B's to distinguish between leaders and followers.
The CRM
That's so good.
people they find as A's and B's.
Stupid CRM.
People follow A's.
When Nat was with his prior group, he was literally following a leader as they stayed moving
That's so
all the
good,
time.
and he hated it.
When he broke from
But he hated it. He never wanted to do that. He needed someone to bring it out of him.
that group and became an A, he defied
Nat is
authority
so
and instead
great.
did what he knew was right. The CRM kills A's. So the second Nat says he had gone up a letter grade, I took that as confirmation that we probably weren't going to be seeing his character make it out of this episode alive. When Michonne sees the CRM helicopter in this reflection, it mirrors perfectly with
Yes,
Rick
it
seeing
does.
a helicopter in a reflection in the Walking Dead pilot. Now there's a lot of fire imagery in this episode, as well as the previous episode and even in the teaser for The Ones Who Live in the original series finale. In that teaser, we saw both Rick and Michonne sitting before fire. In Rick's final episode, we saw him yeeted from the series by fire. In the first episode of The Ones Who Live, we saw walkers on fire and Rick cauterizing his arm with fire. Nat carries a zipper. The gas man
caramba.
walker. Fire was used to
He's
separate
so
the herd.
true.
I could go
Fire
on.
was
This could be
big.
meant to foreshadow Rick and Michonne's mission to burn the CRM to the ground. Not the cities themselves, but the oppressive and tyrannical leaders that run it. Fire is also used as a symbol of strength and rebirth. Rick and Michonne are two of the strongest-willed characters in the Walking Dead universe, and their combined strength is the entire theme of this show. We even hear Rick discuss their strength in the series finale tease.
We're together. Pieces of a whole that just keep going for what we gave each other.
As far as the rebirth goes, this series, The
His
Ones
poor
Who Live,
original
could be the
wife,
start
Lord.
of a Walking Dead resurgence and a whole new chapter in these characters' stories. The original series ended with them no longer being The Walking Dead and becoming
The ones who live.
This series is currently focused on Rick Grimes and Michonne, but what if it became something more? A series that brings back characters like Daryl, Morgan, Carol, Maggie, and Negan, some of the franchise's
need
most
to
heavy
get the
hitters, and that
reunion.
would give us a de facto sequel to one of the greatest shows of all time.
Welcome to a brand new beginning, you sorry shit.
I think that
When
would
the
be
CRM
hard to
drops
pull
its
off,
yellow
but
gas
we
on
need,
Michonne, Nat,
there
and
needs
others,
to be
we're seeing another
a
line
big
drawn between the
reunion
living
as
and
well
the
at
dead.
the end.
Seeing the living be attacked by the fact that they can breathe is a reminder that walkers don't breathe. In fact, in the season 2 finale of The Walking Dead, Michonne's first
Talk about
episode,
the
the digital
throwback.
effects artists went in and removed the visible cold breath seen coming from the actors who were playing walkers.
about
Here
the
we see Nat and
throwback.
Michonne using a walker with its arms chopped off to pull a wagon, just like we've seen Michonne
She
use
does that a
walkers
lot.
in the series as well as in the comics. Here we see flashes of Judith and RJ, plus this shot of Rick from season 7, episode 12, Say Yes, an episode from the original series that we talked a lot about in our recap video leading up to the premiere of The Ones Who Live. We didn't know it at the time, but that episode was laying the groundwork for this series way back when. Over these shots, we hear lines from Rick from the Say Yes episode, talking about how Michonne and Rick can lose one another and still move on, as long as they're fighting for a better world.
You can lose me. You can lose me. I can lose you. It's not about us anymore. It's about a future.
And we thought it was a really nice touch, hearing this line from Rick about them being able to lose each other, playing over the scene just moments before they're reunited. When Michonne is brought before the CRM Council, she calls herself Dana, perhaps a reference to the name Denai, the name of the actress who plays Michonne. That's right, high five.
Just don't freeze when you see her.
When the CRM asks what kind of weapon Michonne carried, she says she used to carry a bow staff. Now,
That's
Michonne
close
never
enough.
carried a bow staff, but
It's
Morgan did.
close enough.
Morgan, like Michonne, has
Yeah,
defied
he
all
did.
odds in a journey to find Rick Grimes. When Rick and Carl
Morgan, what
found
a
Morgan in season
character.
3, Morgan had gone a little mad.
Its story is so insane.
Just die!
They went their separate ways in season 3, but Morgan was able to find Rick years later, and the two reunited in the finale of season 5.
Rick? So
And in
insane,
Morgan's
his
final
story.
episode of Fear the Walking Dead, he embarked on another journey to find Rick
No,
Grimes.
oh, la,
Remember
la,
that
la,
friend I
la,
mentioned,
la,
the one who told me not to
la,
run?
la, la,
Thought we'd go
la,
look
la,
for
la,
him.
la, la,
This
la,
message
la,
is
la,
for Rick
la,
Grimes.
la, la.
So,
I
brought
really
up
need to
Morgan
watch that
because of the bow
show.
staff. Morgan took on a philosophy of not killing the living, and his bow staff symbolized that of a peaceful weapon. So
is
Michonne's
a
choice
peaceful
of saying
weapon.
that she carried a bow staff was perhaps her way of signaling that she is not a threat. And I hope that this mention of a bow staff is another hint that Morgan will find Rick and show up in this season of The One Ones Who Live. So Michonne's interview being recorded before she's admitted into the CRM echoes back to how she, Rick, and the others were interviewed and recorded by Deanna when they were accepted into Alexandria.
God, how they took over that city so fast. It's insane.
And then comes Jadis. Now, we have talked about Jadis in our previous breakdowns, but I'll give you another quick recap. She was the leader of a group called the Scavengers, but
don't wanna
she's
give a
secretly
recap
a CRM operative. She's the one who found Rick washed up on the riverbank and brought him into the CRM. We also saw Jadis in her CRM attire and with her new haircut in the Walking Dead spin-off series, The World Beyond.
That identity, it helped me live, so Jadis is who I am.
Jadis says,
like her.
Oh, wow. You look good.
A callback to her flirting with Rick in the original series.
I lay with him after.
We should get back to work.
Jadis echoes a point that we made in our Rick and Michonne recap video, that if anyone was going to have the ability and willpower to find Rick Grimes, it was going to be Michonne.
She found you. If anyone could, she could.
And then we hear mention of a long-standing deal between Rick and Jadis to not disclose the whereabouts of Alexandria.
That if you try to escape with her, I will make sure that all those people that you
so heartless,
including a few that I like very much.
When Jadis says there are people she likes back in Alexandria, she's specifically referring to Father Gabriel.
Yeah,
Gabriel and Jadis
should have been very easy
to
sell him out.
9 of the original series. And the episode ended with Jadis asking Rick,
Rick, what the fuck are you doing?
What the f are you doing? What are you doing, man?
And guys, I can't wait to see what happens next. It's so great having Rick and Michonne back at the forefront. So guys, those are all the Easter eggs we caught in this episode of AMC's The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. Just a reminder to sign up
I have so much I need to watch as well.
And big shout
I need
out
to finish World Beyond.
Who wrote this video. So let me know
Negan
what you thought of the episode down in the comments below or at me or
Fuck, I forgot her name. Oh my god, I forgot her name. Oh, shame on me. I watched the Daryl show. God, that was so brilliant. And the Hall of Fear of Walking Dead I never even watched. Oh, I really need to. Yep, I really need to.